Hi and welcome to My6Cents, and since it's getting hot outside, I just have to make sure. Matter of fact, just stay tuned, I'll tell you about it. It's starting to get hot outside, right? You know, everybody's pulling out their grills, their charcoal, propane, whatever you use, who cares? But look, what's going out here is people are messing up one of the most important side dishes you could ever have at a gathering or a restaurant even. Now, if you have enough courage to order this from a restaurant, I don't know, I clap my hands, but I don't know if I could ever do that because family can't even get this right. And they come from a long line of people that has prepared this correctly. I don't know if this is a Generation X thing where no one has the patience to stir this and properly season it, but no one seems to get this right. What I'm talking about? Macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese has to be the most disrespected side item in the history of food. I don't know if they're not seasoning this food correctly, when it tastes watered down. I don't know if they don't trust their seasoning when they add too much cheese. What I can say, both of those people are failing in the main area where it counts when it comes to macaroni and cheese. Texture. So what is texture, right? Texture is when you put the macaroni and the cheese in the oven and you take it out just at the right time where it still has a little bit firmness to the noodle, the cheese is melted correctly, but you have to chew it. It's not like something you take up with a straw. I've seen a lot of times where people make like a baby food type macaroni. It'd be more or less like a fondue. Okay, stop making your macaroni and cheese like a cheese fondue. It has noodles in it. It shouldn't look like a cheese soup. I'm tired of eating cheese soup macaroni. Tell them to make sure the texture is proper. I'm getting tired of going places in these restaurants. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Quit half-stepping on the process of preparing this food. No more powdered cheese and macaroni and cheese, please. Just stop. And if you can't afford to use all cheese, please do not mix in the powder. And if you're looking for a good place to buy cheese, I know a place down in Cincinnati called Jungle Gems. They sell maybe 50 to 60 different brands of cheese. I know, because I usually only buy my cheese there. There's really no excuse for bad macaroni and cheese. Just make sure the texture is correct. Make sure you use salt and pepper, and find a reputable place to buy your cheese from. Next topic I want to get off my chest. Okay, look, we have a situation in the NFL where a guy stood up for justice and unity. When I asked what he was kneeling for during the national anthem, he told him, "I'm kneeling because I feel my people are marginalized." And he kept it at that. For some reason, we've come to the conclusion that he is kneeling in spite of the veterans. When he said, no, I'm not doing it because of the veterans. Matter of fact, he was sitting there first. He said, matter of fact, I will kneel in honor of the veterans. Every 72 minutes, a veteran kills himself. Every 72 minutes. You would think that if they were such offended by Colin Kapernick, that they would be offended by the veterans that die every 72 minutes. What they've done is turn his kneeling into a spite out of the veterans that have died and continue to fight in the wars for our freedom and America's freedom and the freedoms that he showed while he's on the field. My thing is this, okay, look, at some point we gotta talk about what the issue is. Why do we keep and continue to overlook the reasons why he's doing this and only talk about the veterans at which he claimed that was never in spite of them? I live in Ohio, and Ohio is an open carry state. But just a couple years ago, we had a guy who was killed in a Walmart because someone said he had a gun. We have starting quarterbacks in the NFL that has accomplished less than Colin Kaepernick. Yet they were signed, they have tryouts, and they're sitting on NFL rosters. To me, that's an injustice itself, and that's the real problem. But what you'll get is people deferring to, well, why is he sitting? Why don't he respect the veterans? But what he's saying in America, well, I've earned this privilege to express my dislike toward what's going on in the country. This brings it to light. Even though I'm doing it on a national stand, I'm willing to take that criticism as long as we talk about the issue, but no one ever addresses it. Now you might ask, what can we do to make this better? I think we've started that process of improving it, but until we continue to stay on topic on what he's trying to bring to light, we'll never fix the issue. Because in my world, I constantly have to worry about being profiled. And in the midst of being profiled, I would hate to be judged and executed on the street. Now, I've heard from veterans, whether I'm listening to the radio or watching TV, they don't seem to have an issue with it. To be honest, they've actually applauded him, knowing that the reason that they fought and lost legs and arms gives him the right to protest. And who is he hurting in this protest? He's just simply not standing in a country where he feels like his people or the people or we the people are not all equal. If I was on an NFL team and I had anybody I felt that was close to me, that understood this, that talked about it with me in the locker room, on the field, or at home, I would tell them at some point we had to stand for something. I could afford to miss 1 or 2 games simply because of this issue not fixed. Because if it's happening to Colin Kaepernick, it's happening to you. It's happening to me. I think Martin Luther King said, what, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. I'm Colin Kaepernick. Only if it was me, I don't know, I think I would be raising more hell. So he's better than me because his protest is peaceful. Peaceful protest is limited into what it can accomplish. It has to force people to talk first. It's a big injustice, and that's all he's talking about. Okay, now that I've talked about this issue and I addressed America as a whole, now I want to talk about something that only addresses black people. Black people are the only people in the world that would turn anything taboo. Taboo for me, or my definition of taboo, is when you create a complex over something that doesn't deserve a complex. For example, black people have made the idea of bedbugs taboo. Now think about it. Bedbugs spread when people travel. For example, in Ohio, we have 4 interstates. We also have fine hotels in Ohio, just like everywhere else. But since someone traveled from California and paid $350 a night for a king suite, they bought bedbugs to that suite. What happens with the black community is that they'll say, you have bedbugs, you are dirty. Now we have a complex with a person that can afford to exterminate the bedbugs. Don't call an exterminator because they don't want to be considered dirty. So what is the reason that hotel that costs $350 a night have bedbugs? Are they just as dirty as the black person that has the money to exterminate the bedbugs that doesn't call the exterminator? Or did the bedbug travel with the traveler that came from the West Coast, that came from the Midwest, that came from down south, or came from the East Coast, and end up in that hotel? As black people develop these ideas and start to label things out of the ordinary that sometimes is ordinary by circumstance, I call it taboo. Now I can go into a billion of these examples. Just sit down and have a conversation with someone and ask them what's their opinion on bedbugs. First thing they're gonna say is the person is dirty, the person doesn't care, and the person can't afford it. I can go into a million examples on how we make most things taboo. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, just sit down and have a conversation and ask someone, what is your opinion on bedbugs? So instead of fixing a problem that's small, you let the problem get large. And that's kind of like my example on how we make a lot of things that would be a normalcy odd, but not like odd in the sense that it's odd and it can be repaired, but odd in the sense that even if I seek to repair and fix this, I should feel strange about myself. And I don't know why we do that. I think it's kind of strange. We should, I don't know, we kind of need to start checking ourselves on that. It'd also be taboo if you didn't subscribe to this one. Hit that like button also. Look for Sh02. I'm out of here.